Welcome back to Rated Radio with your hosts Lexi Ray and S-Dub. If you're new here, we're about to rate something the kids are listening to these days before we get into the artist matchup you came for. With that, Ray, what Billboard hit were we dumb enough to listen to?
This month we covered Good Luck Babe by Chapel Roan.
And what did you think?
This dreamy 80s-inspired summer jam showcases Roan's ability to write a catchy hook accompanied with a sweet, gentle vocal. This bouncy track is perfect for the girlies, the gays, and everyone in between. My only critique is that the slow ending is way out of place. 5 stars.
You still sound like you're trying to sell me something.
That was the intent.
For me, sounding instrumentally like some cross between Toto's Africa and Tiffany's cover of Tommy James's I Think We're Alone Now. This track feels immediately familiar, but also like it's not going to offer up much in the way of originality. Then you get to the Lana Del Rey and ABBA-esque chorus and realize it's got enough quirk to go the distance to 5 stars. This isn't to say I'm in love with the song though, I'm honestly not. I could live without it, to be blunt, and the vocals get so muddy in the hook that I had to look them up to even know what was being said. The lyrics are also desperately confused, which isn't something I relate much to. Still, it's a solid, catchy song, which even comes with a powerful refrain and a clever ending, so it's hit-worthy, but nowhere remotely close to being one of my favorite songs. Brokenhearted, let's roll the intro.
Come on, girl. He doesn't get it. Did you see that on SNL?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Chappell said it on SNL. John Mulaney was like, "Oh, why I don't get it. Why is everybody into Chapel Roan?" And his John Mulaney thing. And I can't remember. One of the new castmates was like, "Oh, she's an icon. She's a blah 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 blah." And he was like, I don't get it." And she's like, "Come on, girl. He doesn't get it." And she just slowly backs out of the frame. It's the stupidest thing ever, but I thought it was hilarious. Hey, it was the stupidest thing ever.
I tell you, I watched Barbie.
Oh, what'd you think of it?
The first album we covered was AJR's The Maybe Man from 2023. This was my bottom album.
This was my runner-up.
Out of the 12 tracks, I gave 8 5s.
I gave 11 5s.
Damn. Yeah. That's almost.
I know, it's almost. So close.
Good. My top track was Hole in the Bottom of My Brain.
My top track was God Is Really Real.
And my bottom track was God Is Really Real.
And my bottom track is Yes, I'm a Mess. I'm sorry if that breaks my eldest nephew's heart.
I'm going to leave it alone.
Yeah.
This is the Lego equivalent of an Imagine Dragons album, much like when a pop artist does the soundtrack for some bubbly kids movie. It's catchy, well produced, rarely moves me emotionally on any worthwhile level, though. It feels like a 12-year-old writing about adult life, listenable, melodically competent, yet something I'm apt to immediately forget.
Whoa. Ouch.
Bruh.
So the Lego comparison, spot on. I totally agree. This bouncy 1930s horn-driven house album expands more on the sound that we have come to know AJR for. A low-key, uplifting direction with an undertone of sadness. The boys lost their father while recording and writing this album, and I think that grieving process is expressed in real time.
Good deal.
After you just shit all over them.
I'm thinking about getting the gum out of my mouth, that's all. Next album we covered was Fleetwood Mac's Say You Will from 2003. This was my middle album.
This was my bottom album.
Out of the 18 tracks, I gave 14 5s.
I gave 9 5s.
My top track was a toss-up between Bleed to Love Her and Goodbye Baby.
My top track was Bleed to Love Her.
I'm surprised it's not Goodbye Baby.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit. Bottom track, Silver Girl.
And my bottom track was Say Goodbye. I'll have to go back and listen to. Did you say Be My Baby?
Goodbye.
Goodbye,
I think
Baby.
It's the very last song on the album.
I did give it a 5.
When I was younger, we're talking like 20, 25 years ago. It wouldn't be that long, 20 years ago. I used to just skim a lot of albums I didn't want to listen to in full.
Yeah.
So I'd skim like little pieces or try to jump to a chorus. And that was the one, Goodbye Baby is the one that caught me. So I've known that one for years. I just don't remember any of the rest of this. Witchy Pop. This is a Nick's Buckingham album, Tusk without McVie's easy, listening, glittery soul. And in an overly bright recording setting, it's weird and whispery, yet still good and brimming with Fleetwood's signature harmonizing. I may think it's grossly guitar forward with many weak fives, but most songs could have been killer with a different direction in terms of the odd production.
So, like Shane said, this is a Lindsay-Stevie collab, and this was actually... McVie was featured on this album, but she remained as a featuring artist, not as a part of Fleetwood. So, and this was the last album that she ever recorded with them, and it was as a guest. The band's 32nd album comes in the shape of mostly a Buckingham Nicks project, with the occasional inclusion from Christine McVie in the form of, like I said, a guest artist. This more fast-paced direction clearly comes from the mind of Lindsay and is not as balanced as it could be of talents as far as showcasing his talent over his counterparts. But when they do manage to find the balance, it complements them both.
Yeah, it hurts my heart to consider that we'll never have the full lineup again.
Yeah, I know. And
McVie died 2 years ago.
And you loved her.
Roughly now.
Yeah. I will say that if you go back and listen to our past episode where we covered Fleetwood Mac and we covered Tango in the Night.
It's one of our first.
Yeah, I think it was our second, actually.
Planned for the first.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I liked Buckingham better here than I did Tango in the Night.
Exactly. You can tell he's grown. It's much more like things were written on an acoustic, and I think he got the idea that played much better than his electric guitar. It's not to say it wasn't there. There's just not as much imitation of 50s here. Mm-hmm. It's his own kind of odd, I don't know, something about like Holiday Road.
Dude, I'm so glad you said something because I think that's what it is. Every time I listen to Lindsey Buckingham, I can't ever be pulled away from the fact that he sings the fucking National Lampoon's Christmas
stuff.
Vacation or Vacation.
Series
all I can think
song.
about is Holiday Road.
Yeah.
Every time. And I can't get away from it. I thought it while I was listening to this and I was like, God.
See, I've always wanted to hear the albums that were released by Stevie and Lindsay together on their own.
The stuff before they got with Fleetwood?
I don't know when they're dated, actually. It's just that, and when I think of Buckingham, I always think of him in The Dance, the live disc that they did. Yeah. Like his performances for Big Love, and I think Bleed to Lover is on there. Silver Springs, all that sort of stuff. Like, he kills it on an acoustic when he's singing and playing at the same time. But when they go into the studio and do this, let's make it sound bright and poppy, it doesn't work as well.
It's the equivalent to me of when you start a new school and you get a whole new outfit and it doesn't quite, it's not quite you. You're trying to be somebody else that you're not. When he has the acoustic, it feels genuine. It feels like it's an extension of himself. Whereas when he has the electric guitar, I feel like he's overcompensating for something in a way. That's
not to lead you to the expectation that this album is acoustic related. It's just more in that vein. Mm-hmm. Anyway, the next album we covered was The Weeknd's Dawn FM from 2022. This was my bottom album. I've already done my bottom album. This was my top album.
Thank you. This is my top album as well. I did not even clock you did your bottom. I was just like, no fucking way.
Out of the 15 tracks, I gave 12 fives.
I gave 14 fives.
My top track was Less Than Zero.
My top track was Less Than Zero.
There you go. Bottom track, Every Angel is Terrifying. Go ahead.
And my bottom track was Every Angel is Terrifying.
Really? Mm-hmm. All right.
Good for high five.
Interesting.
Good for us.
Interesting. Sorry if I sound subdued.
It's okay. I'm used to you not giving me the enthusiasm I want.
I'm always waking up, in front of a microphone.
Yes.
I think that things might flow better for me if we're sitting here talking for half an hour to an hour before we start recording. And for you, it's probably the exact opposite. Like the longer it goes on.
No.
Okay.
I was just thinking, no, I don't think so. Okay. I'm pretty much like, if you catch me at a good time, you catch me at a good time. It doesn't really matter if it's like earlier in the day or at night. It's just random.
All right.
So
easy listening, 80s, club, and R&B combined to make this more of a mood-specific listen than his other albums. While I personally enjoy the sprinklings of music-backed skits, which make the disc feel like you're listening to a Delilah-esque radio station, they only further the fact that this is one of his less accessible albums. It's also quite soft and methodical throughout, which may see a lot of his more thuggish audience check out or just fail to connect. But is it a worthwhile work of art? Oh, absolutely. Think Prince and MJ and their gentler, sexier moments being produced by the Sunglasses Kid, or maybe Daft Punk collaborating with a group like Ready for the World. Were any of that possible, which it isn't, hence why I suspect the time travel theme holds up to scrutiny here. In spite of any context I could afford you going into this listen for the first time, you should ultimately expect yet another in a line of stellar albums from one of the greatest singer-songwriters of our lifetimes, not my go-to of his discography, but arguably his most focused effort.
Bravo. 100% a concept album. This contribution from The Weeknd makes you feel as if you are in a 2085 Blade Runner Warriors-esque quest where you don't quite know where you begin and where you end, and somehow you come all full circle together and become anew at the same time. As confusing as that sounds, if you've listened to the album, this makes total sense. Both the 80s techno, soul, and R&B are perfect for long drives at night from start to finish, and the fact that it's narrated by an insightful Jim Carrey is a major bonus.
The next album we covered was Chris Stapleton's Higher from 2023. This was my runner-up.
This was my middle album.
Out of the 14 tracks, I gave 14 fives. My top track was... No, I always get confused. How many fives did you give it?
10 fives. Thank you so much for asking.
My top track was White Horse.
And my top track was Weight of Your World.
Bottom track, South Dakota.
And my bottom track was The Bottom.
All right.
Yeah. Self-explanatory.
Higher would be a prime example of an album that's flawless in terms of production, ease of listenability, and an almost too competent voice to oversee it. There are even things like guitar solos, secondary slide guitar melodies, guitar not at the forefront when it doesn't serve a given track, etc. So yes, a disc where any song could be a radio hit. There are, however, notable drawbacks as well. I'd argue the majority of tracks don't pack much of an emotional punch in terms of lyricism. We're talking love songs and road trip songs, most of which are not cleverly concocted. Many of the bass melodies simply repeat throughout the entirety of a given track. Some of this feels familiar, almost like imitation of things you've likely heard before. And there are times when I found myself bored by the sound of it, in spite of its undeniably high quality. If we were using a full 10 scale here, you'd clearly see that I don't feel as good about much of this as that perfect rating of fives would lead you to believe. There are a few songs here which genuinely made my ears feel both blissful and challenged. On the whole, though, this will undoubtedly end up as what most of Stapleton's music has been for me, not worth my returning to. I'm very much here for his knockouts, but feel pretty blasé about the rest.
As expected from this host, Chris Stapleton's voice still shines, in my opinion. In addition to his southern soulful vocals, he outshines in his songwriting as well as his guitar skills. My only, and I mean only, complaint is at times he can run choruses either a little too long or a little too repetitive. His music still remains something that is truly special and takes you from the extreme of dancing late at night with someone you love and dancing at night with someone you lost.
Go listen to White Horse. That shit is amazing. Next album we covered was Prince's Musicology from 2004. This was my next to last album.
This is my second to last album.
Out of the 12 tracks, I gave 5 fives.
I gave 8 fives.
My top track was Call My Name.
That was my runner-up, and, well, not my runner-up, but actually tied with Life of the Party.
Okay. For some reason, I thought it was going to be my bottom track, which was Illusion, Coma, Pimp, and Circumstance.
No.
Was that your bottom track?
No. My bottom track was Cinnamon Girl.
A little harsh.
Yeah, I know, because it's supposed to be one of his better ones from that album. And I was surprised too, but yeah, I didn't like what I heard.
All right. This one's a big old mixed bag of funk and R&B, stylistically reminiscent of everything from James Brown to Arrested Development, and even Lil Wayne in his Rebirth era. All of this is overlaid with Prince's recognizable vocals. It's way too hit or miss for me, but does have a few certified keepers. What it left me visualizing was one of those early B-side digital animation films. It may be undeniably different from the majority of drivel that gets produced, may even have some uniquely memorable moments, but that doesn't mean it's peak entertainment. Best I could say is it's slightly above average for folks seeking something odd and groovy. think a quirky, less relatable Bruno Mars type album.
Prince's weirdo remains at surface level per the normal. He's still a creative musical mixologist as he combines different genre styles, paces, instrumental influences, all topped with his funky freestyle vocals. Prince straddles the line of being both a soulful, longing lover to a funktastic goofball, content with his own experimental silliness.
And good God, let's take a break. So, what was your song list this time around?
My song list was songs that make you want to travel.
Tell me what you picked and give me a story.
Okay, I will. The song I picked for this list is America by Simon and Garfunkel. This song has a slow, subtle build, almost the way traveling is. From the slow bus ride to the walking of rugged paths, this song is perfect for traveling to and from. My story, though, you have heard many like it from me before, but recently I decided to take a much-needed break from my reality. And what I did not intend to happen after shattering my phone on only the second day of my cruise, absolutely beyond belief, surprisingly, it forced me to realize that I may not be needed as much as I thought by those I love. And bittersweetly, it gave me the new gift that I didn't know possible. The peace and trust of knowing it is okay to disconnect and make time for the root of everything, you.
Bravo. And I agree that you're going to be happier the moment you realize that almost no one's worried about you.
Yeah.
Almost everyone is walking around thinking about themselves, and it eases so much of the concern. Is it kind of heartbreaking? Yes, it is, but
it's a huge weight, but I will be happy to not bear that weight anymore.
Yeah, it's very freeing. Mm-hmm. I went with 100 Years by Five for Fighting. For the past years, I've been having some lung issues, be it occasional shortness of breath or that damn lingering cough. Between my brother-in-law telling me horror stories about the health of people he works with, or the cancer journey my wife's been on, I was already pretty concerned that something was seriously wrong. Then I started coughing up blood when I got a recent chest cold. Those of you who've been through something similar know there's almost nothing as dread-inducing as the wait to deduce what the underlying cause is. Short of it is that I'm fine, but those weeks of not knowing and worrying did a number on my perspective, and I like looking at this song as a baseline for our own ability to deceive ourselves with comforting lies. Not all of us have 100 years to live. I mean, expectancy is less than 80 years in the US. Plenty of kids die every day from disease, accidents, etc., and none of us know what tomorrow holds. Not trying to be a downer, more like a wake-up call. Don't spend the best years of your life doing almost nothing but making someone else rich and worrying about money. See the world, experience as much as you can, and never lose sight of the fact that this could be the only chance of existing any of us ever get.
Snaps for Shane, snaps for Shane.
Let's go do our recap. My throat made some weird noise at the end there, like I was laughing. I was like, what the fuck is that?
Or you could just say it was me going, cringy.
It was fucking, what's his name? From Family Guy, the giggity dude.
Quagmire.
This is my inside voice. All right, so let's recap the season we just went through.
Before we get into the recap,
go ahead.
Bear with me, because it wouldn't be a battle of the bands.
I'm gonna take a nap, y'all.
If Rayburn didn't fuck something up. I couldn't find my printouts, so I did it based off of memory. Okay. So if I miss something, just I'm
move
gonna
along.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
All right.
Top songs. Maybe.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, okay. I got it. All my songs.
Bleachers.
Chinatown.
I said Roller Coaster. Fiction Factory.
Feels like heaven.
Sorry?
I'm sorry. It feels like heaven.
Sorry, you're not quite as loud in these headphones
we're using
today. I went with Lose Your Heart in Nature. Salt and Pepper.
Shoop. Push It.
I really wanted to say None of Your Business.
None of your...
I love it. It takes so long to kick in, and the recording level is actually lower than most songs. So you have to turn it like way the fuck up. It's just weird.
It's intended to be that way, Shane.
I guess so.
It was a marketing tech.
Turn it up to 11.
Mhm.
No, that's some sexism right there. Because for ladies, a ladies jam, you can't get it loud enough. You see what I'm saying? Like a rock jam, you could turn it up to 10.
Yeah.
And it's at 10. You turn this one up to 10 and it's more like a 7. Calm down, ladies. Don't get too out of control, even on your own
calm down.
girly anthem.
You calm down. Okay, I said Shoop.
TLC.
Creep.
Red Light Special.
Yes, I knew that was going to be yours.
Hosier.
Unknown/Ninth.
Shrike. Dashboard Confessional.
Stolen.
Dusk and Summer. Same album.
Mm-hmm. That's a great album.
Agreed. Fallout Boy.
A little less 16 Candles, a little more Touch Me.
Sugar We're Going Down.
Classic.
Good Charlotte.
Emotionless.
Say Anything. Again, we're still in the same albums here.
Mm-hmm.
Lizzo.
'Cause I Love You.
Soulmate. Megan Thee Stallion.
Kitty Cat.
Geekin'. No
Okay.
Doubt.
Running.
Sunday Morning. Sublime.
Doing Time.
April 29th, 1992. Goody Mob. Goody Mob.
Shut up, Shane. Ass. Free.
Still Standing. Outcast.
So Fresh, So Clean.
Liberation. Rob Zombie.
Demonoid Phenomenon.
House of 1,000 Corpses. Power Man 5000.
When Worlds Collide.
Operate Annihilate.
All right.
So, what 4 artists did it come down to you for the big win here?
So it ended up coming down to Bleachers, Hosier, Lizzo, and Rob Zombie.
All right, well, you had my first 2, with Bleachers and Hosier, but the third and the fourth were No Doubt and Outkast. Who won the season for you?
It comes at no surprise to anyone that Hosier took the season for me.
Same for me. They were up there with Outkast, and it was very close, but Hosier had more 5s.
Yes, and you know what? If I don't take anything away from this season, at least we got to experience Hosier in his, could possibly be his prime, who knows?
Yeah.
He's far exceeded his popularity that he gained with
In 3
Take Me to
albums.
Church. So I'm happy to have shared this with you.
Best and worst artists. Who had your top average for the season?
So my top average was definitely Hosier, and I believe my worst average was Sublime.
Yeah, top for me was Hosier. It was a perfectly rated artist, by the way. Bottom was TLC
Oh, wow, really?
for average.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What about who had the most 5s? What artist had the most 5s for you?
Hosier had the most 5s.
Agreed.
Least 5 still. I think it stood Sublime. I think Goody Mob was close. No, yeah, I think it was Goody Mob that was backup. But
Mine was a tie between Megan Thee Stallion and Salt and Pepper. Top purchase value?
nope.
Okay. Mine was tie between Outkast and Hosier. Again, that was a dead-ass tie. And then bottom purchase value for me was technically Fiction Factory because we only covered 2 albums.
Yeah.
Followed closely by Megan Thee Stallion because Rayburn did her dirty.
Yeah, I did. Sorry, Megan.
Realistically, my bottom purchase value would have been Salt and Pepper.
In my defense, I'm pretty sure she likes it dirty, so.
I still got some 5s out of 2 EPs and a compilation, so it's fine.
All right.
Did you do a second chance bracket? Losers who maybe should have won? Artists who lost throughout the season?
No.
That you think would have won?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Mine wound up being Goody Mob. They took 2 of the 3 spots. The top average for losers was Dashboard Confessional, so they were also a contender, but Goody Mob definitely took 5s in purchase value.
I do have 2 episodes that I was surprised of the outcome. TLC and Salt and Pepper. Salt and Pepper ended up taking it over TLC. I did not expect that. And I even said it in the episode. And then Outkast and Goody Mob. I ended up liking a lot of what Goody Mob had to offer and was a little bit more disappointed in my Outkast album choices because I told you I relied on that one double album and I didn't go with it.
I was really trying not to think about the Outkast takes tonight.
Well, if we're talking about them, I got to talk about it.
All right. So, top and bottom albums. Did you have any perfect ratings or?
Yeah. My Hosier's debut album was a perfect rating. And Lizzo's 'Cause I Love You was a perfect rating. My best album, like I said, was Hosier. And then my worst album was Secondhand Smoke by Sublime.
Okay. We agree on bottom album for the season. It's Sublime's Secondhand Smoke. I would add the most 5s for me as far as albums go. It was a tie between Sublime's Self-Titled and Hosier's Unreal Unearthed. So Sublime actually hit both sides of that spectrum. Highest purchase value. Sublime self-titled album. As far as perfect ratings go, there were 13 perfectly rated albums from me this season. You can take that away as well if you want from your season of hell. Not going over them all here, but we will be addressing this excess next season. So probably, almost certainly, wave goodbye to the perfect ratings that you're seeing from me.
Yeah.
You ready for some questions?
Yes, I am. But before we get into that, we've been calling this the season of hell, but I think you may have had a little bit of fun along the way.
Yeah, I like most of these artists.
Good.
So,
good, I'm glad.
Whose win or loss surprised you the most?
TLC's loss and Outkast's loss.
I was gonna say you kind of just answered.
Yeah,
that
I did.
To...
But I'll do a refresh. And then for the most part, the wins were pretty on par with what I thought.
I was personally surprised that Power Man 5000 beat Rob Zombie for me.
Yeah, well, Power Man did not beat Rob.
That was the big surprise for me on my side. Which of the artists have you been listening to most?
I have been listening to a lot of Megan Thee Stallion. I'm kind of going through a little bit of a slut phase.
So it was a brat girl summer and now a slut phase. All right.
No, I mean, it falls into the whole, whatever. I don't give a fuck anymore.
Okay.
I literally was listening to Kitty Cat with my mom in the car and she's like, Rayburn, really?
You should be doing reaction videos with your mom in the car.
Oh, I really should. But no, I mean, Megan Thee Stallion, a lot of Megan Thee Stallion, a lot of Lizzo, and I live with Blue, so Hozier.
Yeah. A given.
Yeah. Hozier's pretty much a mainstay, and now Gage is really into Hozier too, and he's picked up playing it. So when we go over there, he'll just go in his room and I'll literally hear him playing Feed Your Young. So
yeah, your partner comes over and when we're not talking video games, I always seem to find myself pretty intoxicated. And that's when the conversation starts. Like, look, man, I know you like all of the music on Hozier's actual albums, but have you heard this? Have you heard this live performance of him doing these folk songs?
I don't understand how he finds this shit and how much time he has. Because every time I see him, he's like playing games. And I mean, I guess on TikTok, maybe it's TikTok. But he's always finding some sort of live performance or some sort of orchestral performance. He loves those big, multi-layered performances. And I'm like, And he always introduces me to new music that I have now been able to pinpoint exactly when this song popped into Blue's head that I would like it. He just showed me a new one. And as soon as it happened, I looked at him and I was like, you son of a bitch. And he goes, what? And I said, you knew based off of this exact hook, I was going to be hooked. And from that point on, I was. So love him and hate him all at the same time.
I've been listening to Goody Mob the most because I realized that it had been too long.
Yeah.
Did you genuinely dislike any of these artists? And if so, which? You picked them all, so I would hope not.
No. I think I did put up a little bit of a begrudging fight there at the end of the season because I was texting Shane like, hey, can we switch up the matchups, or do we want to? And we didn't.
That's right. I was a wall.
We didn't. He held strong because I was concerned with Rob Zombie, Power Man 5000, Outkast, and Goody Mob. I was really concerned with Outkast and Goody Mob because I actually wanted Outkast to go up against somebody else.
Which would be who?
I thought I wanted Childish Gambino.
Oh, okay.
That's who I wanted.
Okay.
But, hey, this was already my season. I thought I'll stick with the rules, I guess. Although I don't know what Shane did behind the scenes. He could have lied to me and picked all the matchups for his season.
Two things about what you're saying is, one, the season we're going into in the future, as season 11 is going to be like a reboot for us, we're doing a lot of shit different. And a lot of these rules are being scrapped so that I'm more flexible with you, with what you want or need out of this show.
But I am I need to do a better job I think I'm also going through a little bit of a wave right now where it was like I was really, 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 doing the work and doing the work and doing the work. And then I just went through a rut. And now I feel like I'm coming out of the other side of it. I just need to know how that looks with how things have changed for me personally. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which
I also gave you a lot of leeway in the special that's going to be coming out before long.
I'm very excited about it.
I just let her pick any album she wanted to from 6 different artists. So We're going to get to that.
Yep.
I didn't dislike any of this, but I definitely disliked more Fall Out Boy than I anticipated. Those lyrics sometimes they really land.
Yeah.
Well,
the song titles alone, it's a little bit of a deterrent, already
sure.
from the get-go. When you have to like say a whole mouthful just to list the name of a song or search a song,
yes.
Get the fuck out of here.
What did you learn during this Battle of the Bands or during this season?
I learned that I liked a lot more from these people than I thought I knew. I knew quite a bit, but I had never, with the exception of Hosier, I had never dug into anybody's discography because I'm lazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think you reflect a lot of listeners.
Mm-hmm.
I think I am definitely the odd person out, product of the 80s, 90s, where listening to entire albums is kind of what you did.
Yeah.
The people who have had this access to just the hits of anybody at any time is a little different. I mean, in the 80s, you would make like your little mixtapes you'd record from the radio.
Yeah.
But it's still not exactly the same. Because you've been in control, by the way, I learned this season that I absolutely dread having to cover ABBA.
Yeah.
This was written before I did anything future related, but just keep that in mind. Which artist have you picked for the next season?
Well, isn't it funny that we're here? Because the artist that I have chosen for next season is... Remind me.
Remind you?
Yes. I thought you said the special. That's why I was like, oh.
I was talking about the special, but the questionnaire...
Oh, you were?
The questionnaire is which artist you pick next season.
Yeah, I don't remember.
All right. Bear with me. I apologize.
Sorry.
I don't know why I'm apologizing for your
I'm
shit.
sorry. Isn't it adorable when I forget things, though?
As proof of just how flexible I am being now, she said she wanted to cover Melanie Martinez.
Yeah.
And I told her the matchup, and she was like, I was like, who do you want it to be? And what did you pick? You no remember this?
Was it Lana?
Doja Cat.
Oh, that's right. I did pick
Melanie
Doja.
Martinez will be going up against Doja Cat in season 11. That's Rayburn's pick.
Yep.
By the way, in season 11, we are going back to drawing from the jam jar. Mm-hmm. I'm not actually drawing anymore. I'm just using a spreadsheet and randomizing, and the top hit is what gets it.
Ooh, we're moving into the future.
Oh.
Cutting down on paper costs.
Just wait. What I picked, no one cares, but what I picked was Baby Metal.
Yes.
And they'll be going up against Blackpink.
I was not surprised when you sent me that you wanted to cover Baby Metal. I was like, yep, it's about time. I
spend a lot of time with my kids.
I know.
And they love this shit.
I know. And you love them, and you also love the music. So it's Taylor Swift. Like, Taylor Swift is like y'all's thing too.
Yeah.
So I get it. No apologies.
So tell the audience what they can expect from your special.
So lean in, sis. Because we are going to be having the Very Gay Special, where we will be covering music from either gay icons, artists in the LGBTQIA+ community.
I'm super. Thanks for asking. Come on.
Super. Thanks for asking.
Get to it. Damn.
Hey, I have to intro, man. So the first album that we're going to be covering in the Very Gay Special is The Fame Monster from Lady Gaga. We're also going to be covering The Rise and Fall of the Midwest Princess from Chappell Roan. We're going to be covering Arrival by ABBA. We're also going to be covering Cher's Heart of Stone, George Michael's Faith, and David Bowie's Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. So tune in to the special, the Very Gay Special, if you want to hear what we have to say about those albums and those artists.
Yes, indeed.
No.
Yeah, that's going to do it for now. Hit up our playlist, visit our shop, come find us online to get your voice on the show. And until next time, fill your world with music.
I make no apologies. See you guys in the special.